maybe you wouldn't know anything about the person who made it, like what they felt, or what they were like, or what they experienced, and I wanted to go the opposite. With that bad bitch, thunder, lightning, super frightening, Now it's 7:59. We're on the edge of a Saturday night.
Maria, welcome in Amsterdam in this cute little theater.
I love it. I wish we were going to watch Hereditary.
You said it's one of your favorite movies.
Oh my gosh, I love Ari Aster, and Hereditary was incredible, and Midsummer is... I have watched both like probably a dozen times.
Oh wow.
I love horror movies though.
Horror movies?
Yes.
Oh God. So you're looking forward to Halloween?
Oh, Halloween started last month for me, baby.
Oh, why? Like parties or like
no,
movie
movies.
nights?
Every year I watch... I have a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And of all the horror movies I want to watch, I usually watch like 100 sometime between September and the end of October.
Wow. I just like to address that this is my first time interviewing an artist with your status, so please don't be too hard on me.
I would never. Okay. I would never, honey. Oh, you're a sweet baby. I would never be mean to you.
Okay. I would like to start with a compliment because I think that you're the only person in the world who rocks a photo in a hospital bed. I saw a photo of you in a hospital bed wearing sunglasses, and I was wondering what happened.
Oh, well, so I have been ill.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not going to dance around it. I have had to have benign tumors taken out of me. I was anemic and I was like collapsing on tour.
Whoa.
And so, it was like a long time to figure out what was wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm still not done with it. Like, you'll be able to notice I'm like sweating right now, and I had to stop and take a bunch of medicine.
Oh.
So I'm just kind of taped together medically. So it's like a car that, like, you know, you duct tape the rear mirror on, and you start it with a screwdriver. That's me till January when I get the big surgery, and then after that I'm going to be good. I'm going to be unstoppable.
But well, you're going to be unstoppable. You already are.
That's
because
true.
You're here.
Yeah, but my uterus is going in a trash bin. So
wow.
It's getting yeeted from the club. It's no longer on the guest list.
But like, I think isn't it a hard time to manage all those things while having these problems?
Yeah, and DJs really aren't supposed to get sick. Like, we're supposed to pretend like we don't. But people do.
Yeah, you're not a robot.
No, and like lots of it's it's one of the things, like, people like keep things secret, and I understand why that is. Yeah. And I've been I just don't want to have to pretend to be bulletproof, even though, like, I've been sick for like a long time and have been on tour the whole time, and it's been ups and downs and not knowing what it was. And so I kind of made the decision because I knew I was probably going to have to cancel some shows, but I didn't want people to be surprised or to feel like I just didn't care about what was going on. That I was just like blowing it off or whatever, Well, I'm sick and I'm gonna get better, but I'm here today. I feel good. Wow. And I'm so glad to have good health care. Yeah. And because
it's a thing, right, in the US?
Yeah. Well, I live in London.
Oh, you live in London. I'm sorry.
If I was in America, we would have had to sell the house at this point. But yeah, I think it's one of those things, like, DJs don't talk about it because we're all just kind of supposed to keep this veneer of, like, happy party starters, and we are, but we are also actual human beings.
Well, I do respect your honesty, and I think that really other people also should, be more honest about their lives.
Yeah. It's got to go. Yeah. Out.
Well, it's great that you're here. Let's talk about ADE. Let's talk about music, because it must be a special night. It must be a special day, because yesterday at midnight, your debut album dropped. How do you feel, and how did you celebrate it?
I slept through it.
Wow, that's rock and roll.
I went to bed at like 10:45. I watched, it's spooky season, so I watched this horror movie called The Substance.
Oh, it's a new movie, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I got a screener of it. So I watched that with my best friend Diana, and then I slept through it, and I got up this morning to come here, and I didn't look at the internet.
No? Why not? I mean, you've worked on this album since 2017.
Honey, there is nothing good on the internet. There is the internet. It's either people loving you or people hating you, and either way, it's none of your business.
Okay, but like,
it's not that I'm not celebrating it or feeling that love. Like, people have reached out to me, but more importantly, the people that I care about, like, and respect privately and professionally and creatively, those people. Those are the things, and
that matters.
And my mom is proud.
That's great.
And
but it must be emotional because I know that you called your father when you heard that you're gonna release this album. He passed away.
He did.
So it must be emotional to have this album out and not, have the ability to show it to your father.
Yeah. Well,
how do you cope with that?
I am one of those people that is like, it's kind of all, I don't conceal it. And I think I put him on the album after he died because I wanted to get used to it. But I mean, it was the first song that I wrote, or maybe second, when I started the album. And when Corinne Lomax and she was like, "What do you want to write about?" And I was like, "Well, if I'm going to be honest with you, my dad just died like a month and a half ago or whatever," and we were still in lockdown, so I couldn't see him. I couldn't go to the hospital. We had to do everything over Zoom. That's a life that a lot of people lived.
Sure, but it's hard.
It was incredibly hard, but I think one of the things I try to do with this album is to make dance music personal. I think that there's been a lot of depersonalization.
Yeah.
Like, you could listen to 1,000 promos and not feel like you knew anything about the person who made the record. The record could be banging, but maybe you wouldn't know anything about the person who made it, like what they felt, or what they were like, or what they experienced. And I wanted to go the opposite, not just for other people, but for me, because I feel like it's more work to carry the weight quietly. And I think it's dishonest. I would have rather just say, like, this is so hard. And that the lyrics to that were just about, like, what do you do afterwards? And I wanted to put my mom and my stepdad are on the album. I wanted to put those voices in time and to kind of freeze it. To kind of freeze it in amber.
Which is fantastic.
Thank you.
I don't know you at all, but I feel that you're a loving person.
I am.
I can see it on your Instagram as well.
I am.
When I read your posts, I have to be honest, the captions are a bit long, but they're so personal and so...
I'm 46, so we used to read books.
But they're so
Can you write
honest.
How old are you? Or can you write in cursive?
I can. Yeah, I'm 29. No, I'm sorry, 28. I just turned 28. Yeah.
Do you read books for fun?
Yeah, I do actually.
Good.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, good. I'm just checking.
Yeah.
I thought I wasn't going to give you any grief.
But
I saw this thing about how people under 30 weren't reading anymore. And
no, I do. But I do it on the e-reader.
Yeah. Well, I'm brevity has never been one of my selling points.
Yeah, but I do love the honesty and the feeling that you put in the record, and you also put out on social media. On the album are so many collabs that you've done. I want to talk about one especially. It's the one that you made with Soulwax.
Well, the funny thing about that record is that it has existed since like 2011. There's a version of it that, and it's not so different than the one that came out.
Yeah.
Soulwax definitely added like a really beautiful flavor, and they went in and they dug into Jamie's vocals and found whole things that I had forgotten we had recorded because it had been years before.
Yeah.
I just sent them the whole folder of everything because I just needed to have a different look at it. But the original version has my voice on it. Recorded on a BlackBerry underneath a blanket.
Wow.
Because I didn't have a microphone or a studio or anything. This is when I was like trying to make tracks on a stolen copy of Logic.
Where it all started.
Yeah, right. And that record came out, the first version of We Still Believe, and I wrote the lyrics on the back of an album sleeve.
Yeah.
But I had always imagined, at that time in the house I lived in, we were constantly playing this, it's a version of Jamie Principle, Bad Boy, that never really came out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool.
It's a more raw version, and I was just obsessed with Jamie.
Yeah.
And I always imagined, like, that if I had my fantasy that Jamie would be on it. And then years later we met.
That's insane.
It is. Well, we met through Frankie Knuckles, and through the Frankie Knuckles Foundation, and when Frankie passed away, and then we would see each other on the road, and actually we really connected. We were stuck out in this rave where all the DJs, they put us all in this weird Swedish inn out in the middle of nowhere. It was the creepiest place ever. And I was going to go sit down and get something to eat, and I saw Jamie sitting there, and he's like, hey. And I'm like, hey. And we sat and we talked for hours and hours and hours, and from that point, and it's got to be like 7 years ago or whatever, maybe 8 years. Yeah. Jamie is really one of my best friends, and we actually did a number of records together, but I asked him, I said, would you re-record this? And so there's another version of it. That version is in Grand Theft Auto, but I wanted to retool it for the album.
Yeah. Wow.
And so they did a version, and then I remixed their remix, and that's insane. What's on the album.
But that's something that I noticed. Your tracks are unpredictable. If I think that you go left, you take the right. Yes. And I think that's what makes you a good producer. But how do you sit in the studio working those things out? Because you take the time for it, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't have any sense of deadlines. Or at the time that I signed the contract, I knew I would only have the opportunity to do a debut album once. Yeah. And so I just was like, I'm going to use this time and this unlimited Rolodex.
Yeah.
Because there are people who would never have talked to me, or you know what I mean. Like it brought a level of attention and gravity to the album that was not there before, and so people just started showing up.
Cool.
For sessions, and I got to go like to Paul Epworth's studio, the church. You know, and Paul wrote "Rolling in the Deep," and
oh my God,
engineered for radio. And Paul's like one of the great producers of all time. Yeah. And Paul started sending me stuff. He said, "Do you want to do a thing?" And I was like,
"Yeah."
Like, yeah, okay, yes, please. So I just took that time to treat it like, okay, well, this is going to be my master's education in producing, and everybody that would come in, I would just try to learn everything they knew. I just need to see how someone does it once. Yeah. And I wasn't writing songs, like not really, like a little bit. Like I wrote We Still Believe, but like the lyric part of it and melodies, I was so afraid of that part.
Why?
Because I'm just a scummy house DJ from the Midwest rave scene. Like, what kind of credentials do I have for such a thing?
The credentials to be here now at ADE Festival, playing a big show tomorrow at the NDSM warehouse.
Yes.
How excited are you?
I am. You know what? It's become this annual tradition. It's also my birthday weekend.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I need another year closer to the grave. But it's always such a nice place to do it. And it really has begun to feel like, every year it puts a little thumbprint. Yeah. It's more than even New Year's for me.
Well, I want to thank you so much for your time, because you're on a tight schedule, and
the pleasure was mine.
I also do have a gift for you.
No.
It's a small present.
What is it?
Recently, I started to play as a drum and bass DJ.
Oh, I love drum and bass.
Oh, cool.
Oh my God, I was like such a teenage junglist.
Oh, wow.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
Yeah, me too.
Wore out those DJ hype tapes. I'm telling you what.
I'm obsessed, but I recently just started. I had my first gig yesterday.
How'd you do?
Oh,
did you fuck up?
Yeah.
Okay,
big time.
Right. The inside of my wedding ring says "Don't fuck up," and you know what? I know it's like my marital thing, but it's also just my life thing.
Okay, so
it's the only advice you can give another musician.
All right, thanks
Don't
so
fuck up.
much.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about merchandise. And, everybody has the same thing, T-shirts or hats.
You had your first show and you're already thinking about merchandise?
Yeah, I'm planning it doing big time. You're the first one to receive it.
Oh, let's
the
have it.
first one in the world.
Oh.
I have it in the back of my pocket.
Okay, all right. Is it drugs or what?
No, it's especially for you. It's the first.
Is this a thong?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, honey. Oh, my God.
So
is this pre-worn or do I have to put this up somebody's ass?
No, it's not pre-worn.
No,
you can smell if you don't trust me.
No, it's fine. I mean, no, it's clean.
Yeah, it's clean.
Okay, and so you're DJ AO?
Yeah, my name is Andres.
D&B sensation. You know what? I support this kind of aspirational marketing.
Yeah.
And you are the new drum and bass sensation as far as I'm concerned. This is really top-notch merchandising.
Well, that's a big compliment. Thank you very much for your time.
You're so welcome.